Hello and welcome to the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the World Cup because the QATAR 2022 World Cup is just around the corner and I cannot wait. But before we get into the episode, I thought it would be a good opportunity as we're talking about the World Cup to say hello and read some messages out from people around the world. Wherever you're listening in the world, thank you very much, and I hope that you really enjoy the podcast. So, the first one is from Ireland, Max, Sam and Ryan, and they've sent me a lovely message which says, "Hi Darren, we love listening to your football stories. We live in Dublin and we play for our local team. We have watched Ireland play a couple of times. Hopefully, you can interview an Irish player one day." Well, I tell you what, boys, I would absolutely love to, and hopefully we'll be able to make that happen. Thank you very much for your messages, and I hope that you enjoy this podcast and all the ones in the future. Also, a big hello and a thank you for your message to Harry and Kyle, who are listening in Canada. They said, "Can you do an episode on Pele? We've heard he's one of the greatest players of all time." Boys, you are absolutely correct. Pele was an amazing player and we will do an episode on him in the future. And lastly, before we get into this week's episode, a big hello and a thank you for getting in touch to Gabriella and her brother Thomas, who live and listen in Melbourne in Australia. Can you do an episode on David De Gea? That is a good one. I like that. We'll add that one to the list. Thank you to everybody who has sent a message to the footballforkidspodcast at gmail.com. If you want to get in touch with an idea or send a message, you can ask an adult to do it for you. Anyway, the World Cup. The FIFA World Cup started in 1930 and it's happened every 4 years except for in 1942 and 1946. This was due to the Second World War happening. In total, there have been 21 men's World Cup tournaments, and a whopping 40.5 million people have been to the tournament over the past 92 years. The last World Cup was held in Russia in 2018, and France were the winners after beating Croatia in the finals. Do you know which country have won the World Cup more than any other country in the world? If you said Brazil, you would have been correct. Well done. Brazil have won the World Cup 5 times. Did you know that Brazil and Italy are the only 2 teams to ever win the World Cup 2 times in a row? No other countries have ever achieved that. Brazil have also made it to the final another 2 times but came second. Over the years, Brazil have been the best team in the World Cup and they are still very, very dangerous. Did you know that Brazil have never not been in the tournament? They have qualified for every World Cup since it began 92 years ago. Other teams have won the World Cup and they are Uruguay, they've won it twice, Italy, they've won it twice, Germany, they've won it 4 times, Argentina, they've won it twice, France, they've won it twice, Spain, they've won it once, and there's one more who I haven't mentioned. Do you know who it is? If you said North Macedonia, you would be incorrect. Of course, it's England. 1966, the last time the men's national team lifted the World Cup, and the reason England have a star on the England football kit. The World Cup is an extremely special tournament, and people from all around the world watch it. When the World Cup is on, almost every country in the world shows every game. In 2006, the football matches were watched by 26 billion people in total. That is a lot of people. Did you know that the World Cup is held in different countries every tournament? If a country wants to be the host of a tournament, they have to tell FIFA, who are the people who run football across the world. People in FIFA go for a range of different things, and they look at who would be the most suitable country to host the World Cup. They look at things like how many good quality stadiums a country has, how easy it would be for football fans to get to these games. And then they award a World Cup tournament to a country or a set of countries. Did you know that the World Cup was once held in England? It was the year which England won the World Cup, which was all the way back in 1966. Can you work out how many years ago that was? If you said 56, you would have been correct. Over the years, the World Cup has been held in lots of different countries. Uruguay, Italy, France, Brazil, Switzerland, Sweden, England, Mexico, Germany, Argentina, Spain, USA, France, South Korea, Japan, South Africa, Brazil, and Russia. And November this year, it will be in Qatar. Do you know where Qatar is? It's in the west continent of Asia, and it's not very well known for football, but I'm sure they will try their hardest to put on a very good tournament. So then, let's get some stats and facts in, shall we? Because we love a stat and we love a fact. Do you know who is the highest goal scorer of all time in the World Cup? No, I didn't know either. It's a German player called Miroslav Klose, who has scored 16 goals in World Cup games over the years. He played in 4 tournaments over 16 years. There's only one English player in the top of the table, and that's the man who presents the football programme on the BBC called Match of the Day. His name is Gary Lineker. He was simply a brilliant player. And did you know that he went his whole career without receiving a single card? Not a yellow, not a red card, nothing. Gary Lineker is the 8th top goal scorer of all time in the World Cup. Do you know what a ranking is? If you don't, in football terms, it's where teams are given a number depending on how good they are. It all depends how many goals they've had scored against them, how many games they win, how many goals they score, among lots of other different things. Basically, if you're number 1, you're the best team in the world, and if you're number 200 and something, you're probably the worst team in the world. The World Cup is a bit like the FA Cup. It's special and exciting things happen every tournament. One of the biggest upsets was when the 57th best ranked team in the world, who was South Korea, beat Germany, who were the number 1 ranked team in the world in 2006. Another was when South Africa, who were ranked 83 in the world, beat France, who were ranked 9th in the world. So when you're watching games in this year's World Cup, don't be fooled. Anyone could win. Did you know that in the 2010 World Cup, 3 brothers all played in the same team representing their country? The Palacios brothers all played for their country, Honduras. 3 brothers in one team in the greatest tournament on the planet. How amazing is that? To qualify for the World Cup, teams have to travel all around the world playing different teams, and the top teams in each group go through to the tournament. Australia have had to do more miles in the qualifiers than any other team on the planet. Have a guess how many miles Australia had to do in their games to qualify for the World Cup in Russia in 2018. 155,000 miles. That's about the same as flying around the world 25 times. Did you know that in the 1990 World Cup, Italy went 517 minutes before having a single goal scored against them? That's nearly 6 matches. That's very impressive. England and Italy have lost more penalty shootouts in the World Cup than any other team in the world. Both countries have been knocked out of a tournament 3 times due to the dreaded penalty shootouts. Let's hope for us England fans it doesn't happen this time round. I hope you've enjoyed listening and learning about the World Cup, and I hope that you're looking forward to the tournament as much as I am. I'm sure it'll be an excellent tournament full of brilliant games of football and exciting stories. England are currently ranked 5 in the world, with Brazil at number 1. Who do you think will win the World Cup? Whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly, or pitchside, I hope you enjoy the game. See you next time.